reflect those of the Evening Rush Network. Viewers' discretion is advised. Views expressed here are not supported.
All right, a little technical difficulties, but welcome everybody to the Art of the Finished Wrestling podcast on this special Sunday evening. I am joined once again by by my host, my co-host now, Jay Andre. I am your host, Rels. What's going on, my brother?
Not much. What's going on, bro?
I can't complain, man. Just doing this, independent wrestling showcase spotlight thing. So, we got a special guest tonight. I'm gonna introduce him right now. I'm gonna bring him in. As you can see, he's in full-on character, maxed out and everything, which I love it.
What's a character? What is this? I don't understand this character you speak of.
I'm sorry. We're joined by independent wrestling superstar Elijah Eden. What's going on tonight, brother?
How's it going, y'all? How we feeling?
What's going on?
Thanks for being a guest. We appreciate it. Definitely.
I appreciate you. I don't usually do these often, but I felt like it was about damn time.
Well deserved, man. Well deserved. I don't have any clips of you. I didn't get a chance to put the clips, so we didn't get a chance to really get them done. But we're gonna talk about your career and future goals and things of that nature. So, first of all, let me ask you a question. Like, what got you into professional wrestling?
Well, I mean, the answer to that question is always the same, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I watched it since I was young. My so and so introduced me. My mother, my father, my grandmother. Our stories are usually all the same, is that we've loved it since we were young, and once we got old enough, we figured, why not take a crack at it? And yeah, that's how we got here. So lifelong fan, and then yeah, we just grew up watching it, loving it religiously, the only thing that we took consistently in our lives. And yeah, we just decided to take a crack at it one day and figured, why not?
Good. Who was some of your inspirations growing up?
I mean, if we're looking way back when, I mean, I'm not that old, so Triple H was always my guy. Undertaker was always my guy. Jeff Hardy was always my guy. Something along the lines of a character and storytellers. Something that left you wanting more no matter what. And I feel like those three guys always did that for me.
Who would be the person that maybe can't wrestle now that you would have dreamed to have a match with?
Wow. I mean, does it have to be someone who can't wrestle anymore? Because if you, I mean, if we're talking people from way back when, for me it would always have been Eddie, Chris Benoit, or Owen Hart. I've always looked up to technicians like that too. So if we're talking about people that are no longer alive or are no longer able to, to do that, then those three guys for sure. But anyone who's alive currently is in a dream match, because I don't like using that term dream match. It's really future possibilities. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. Were you one of those kids that they told you don't try this at home and you tried it at home?
The second they told me, first off, the second anyone tells me not to try something, I'm gonna try it. So wrestling and those commercials were no different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had to ask that question.
No, yeah, the second that commercial went off, I went, you know what? Let me try this rock bottom. Let me try a swanton.
So your first comics, shout out to KD, always checking in. What companies have you wrestled for?
So right now, I wrestle consistently for Pro Wrestling Magic. I've wrestled for PPW, Pennsylvania Pro Wrestling Federation. I've wrestled once for House of Glory. There's so many. I'm wrestling in a couple months in Inferno Fight Club. That's a nice group of guys up there. I wrestled for Battle Club Pro. I feel like I'm missing a few that are in the mix. There's so many spots. But yeah, those are the spots that I used to go to mainly, or that I consistently go to now.
Okay, so it's your what would you describe your well, not your character because it's who you are. What would you describe your wrestler? Are you a baby face? Are you a heel? Are you a tweener?
Yeah, that's another term I don't like to use often because I feel like I am me. There's no sense of the word baby face or heel, but if we're talking wrestling terms, then yeah, I'm a heel. But to be quite honest with you, I'm me. When I step through the curtain, when you meet me in person, I am me. Whether you interpret that as a baby face or a heel, that's entirely up to you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you like? What are your future goals? Like, do you see yourself ever trying to get into it, like an AEW or a WWE or even an Impact?
Absolutely. I think anyone who absolutely. That's the main goal for anybody, isn't it? That is if we could get into the mecca right now of pro wrestling, which is the E, then why not? But as we know, sometimes that isn't the case, and there are things that happen that benefit a lot of people like me. So an AEW, absolutely. But let's not get it twisted either. I would love to go to Impact. I would love to go to MLW. If I can get a chance to get my hands overseas and go to New Japan or UK and wrestle some guys out there. That's always the goal. The goal is to wrestle as often as possible, as much as possible, with the best talent as possible. Wherever that is wherever that's gonna take me.
So who?
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
No, go ahead.
So who would you say have been your greatest rival up to this point?
My greatest rival in ring, which is a funny story. In ring, my biggest rival is also my teammate. If you watch the product, if you keep up with my social media, I'm in a group called Project Mayhem, and it consists of myself, Smiley, and Osito. Osito and I have been through the trenches together. We've wrestled each other many of times, in masks, without masks, in much more ways than just the ring. Sometimes it felt like. So if I had to put it down to a biggest rival, but someone who always pushed me to do better, it would be Osito. But now we have come to a common ground and a common goal of showing people what we're really about.
Oh, okay. So KD also asked a question. What are some of the notable names you've been in a ring with?
The most notable would be Matt Taven, Impact ROH star. I just did a tag team match not too long ago at a Lucha show. It was him and Superhero Mantequilla, who's another guy from House of Glory. He's absolutely amazing. Another notable guy I faced, and we faced them in a tag team match. I've also faced Little Guido Nunzio, for all you wrestling heads out there. Wrestled him also in a tag team match. So yeah, up to this point, those are the most notable guys so far.
Okay, so what is the significance of the mask? Was there a reason why you decided to wear a mask, or is it just you wanted to just like hide your identity? And would you ever do let's just say a quote unquote down the line like a hair versus mask match?
Yeah. So funny story about the mask is that I didn't choose the mask. The mask ended up choosing me, so to speak. I have wrestled in shows without my mask, and I actually don't mind showing my face, but I feel like as a society, we constantly wear masks. We constantly hide who we are to prove to other people who we are. So my mask isn't any significance other than the common folk. Everyone else who decides to wear a mask, except I don't hide who I am. I put my face on to show exactly who I am. And if you get the masked version of me, you're probably lucky. But if you see this in front of you at the other end of the apron, you're probably in for a really rough night. So yeah, that's how that came to be.
All right, so I got another question too, because you did just mention like one of your partners is like one of your greatest rivals.
Yep.
I've watched wrestling since I was about 6. How do you coexist with somebody that you feel like you constantly might have to watch your back over?
You know what is that I don't have to watch my back around him. You know what I mean? I trust him as far as I could throw him, and if memory serves me correct, I still can throw him pretty far, but he's gained some muscle. So you know, these days it might be the other way around. but no, we found a common ground, and it was a very notable one. You basically you fuck around and you find out, and people have messed around way too much around this, and we are now deciding to show our true faces and do exactly what we know we can do. So if I have to worry about him, never, not once. You know, it's more of those. If I see him across the ring from me, you know, it's either him or me, and I ain't mad at either one, to be honest with you.
As a wrestling fan, I'm like, they gotta watch out for my rival. I get it.
Right.
You're a very trusting wrestler. I respect that.
Trust me. We've reprogrammed him enough to get him to listen when we need it to. You know what I mean? He does his thing everywhere else, but when he's with us, he knows. We both know.
Okay. So what is the concept of Project Mayhem?
Right. The concept pretty much came about of guys. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people could relate to this. I'm not a wrestler. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy like everybody else. Someone who's probably been pushed over and stepped on a bit too much, knowing damn well you are very good at what you do. You know what I mean? Everybody can relate to that. Smiley can relate to that. Osito damn sure can relate to that. And we just decided to end a lot of that talk, a lot of those actions, a lot of those behaviors that would allow people to think that they could get one over on us. And yeah, for the common goal of mayhem. And you know.
So KD asks, who are your 5 favorite masked wrestlers of all time?
5 favorite masked wrestlers of all time. Number 1, shockingly, not Rey Mysterio, Psychosis. I grew up watching WCW, little tidbit in there, little bit of personality in there, little tidbits. I grew up watching WCW much and not WWF or E up until the early 2000s, maybe 99 into 2000. So I didn't catch most of the 90s wrestling until I was a bit older. So number 1 for me has always been Psychosis. Number 2, Rey Mysterio. Number 3, La Parka, because he was a character. He was, on top of his athleticism, just things that people don't know. Things that people overlook these days. It's just, you know. Anyway, number 4, Ultimo Dragon. And number 5, just to throw it in there right now, simply because his masks are amazing. It's a guy in CMLL, Titan. He's insane. Very athletic, very strong man, but insane masks. Just probably one of the best I've ever seen. So I gotta give it up to him based on the masks alone.
I'm gonna have to check that one. I'm gonna have to check him out. So so you've been wrestling. How long is it you've been wrestling for?
So I've been training for about 3 years, and I've been doing independent shows for about over a year. So I'm still pretty what we call new to this.
How did it feel to walk through that curtain in front of an audience for the first time? Because I'm almost sure that the training and the training and live performances are totally different.
Right. Yeah, you know, I want to say everyone that says they had the jitters, they had the nerves, and that's a cliche answer. I felt that, but I also felt ready. I knew that I was supposed to be here. I knew that I was supposed to be doing this, and I knew that no matter what happened, that I would trust myself and trust my training, because I do this. You know what I mean? Yeah, the nerves came. Yeah, you know, the pits and the mistakes and the little self-consciousness that comes in. But to be honest with you, I was more ready than I thought I would be. And that's a lot of the things that people don't say.
KD asks, who trained you?
Who trained me? The great, amazing Red. If anybody
shout out
knows
to Red. He's an icon.
Yeah, New York City Underground King is what we call him, for real. That man is still to this day one of the best. And if
absolutely,
to be honest, he can he can still still keep up and then some. It's insane. So yeah, that guy's my mentor, my trainer.
What is the best advice he's given you so far?
To be honest, it's a funny thing. The best piece of advice he's ever given me was that we're live. No matter what happens, no matter how things may go, this is supposed to be weird. This is not normal for most folks. This is uncommon, if anything. But we're live, so make it work, make it happen.
If you can have a 6-man right now with any six wrestlers, you and 2 other wrestlers against 3 other wrestlers, who would it be?
Right now, me. You talking about me and 2 of my partners versus
No,
3?
Well, actually, yeah.
So you're like a 6-man tag?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I can't. It'd be me and Project Man, obviously. Me, Smiley Osito. And I would love to get my hands on Lucha Party. Lince Dorado, Kalisto, Metalik. You know, if we can manifest and plan something like that, we would make absolute magic. I know a lot of people probably will think, "Oh, that's shooting in the dark," but trust me, a lot of things have happened in wrestling. So, yeah, I'm putting that out there. I'm putting that out there.
That's not a bad 3. I didn't even think of that, but that actually would be a pretty good match.
Right.
KD said, name 3 artists you wouldn't mind doing your entrance music.
You know, yeah. We're always ready for that question.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're always ready for that question. How many times have you heard a song in your iPod or whatever, walking down the street, and you're pretending you're doing your entrance?
Yeah, I have. As a wrestling fan, I've done it. I've done it in the gym, so I get it.
Yeah. It's a common thing. We still do it to this day. If I number 1 would be my favorite band, Bullet for My Valentine. They absolutely fucking rock. If I could pick anyone, it would be them. Number 2, if he was still alive, to be honest, and I know this is crazy, is DMX. He knew how to get a crowd, and to be honest, him at a wrestling show would have
absolutely.
It would have blew minds. Number 3, again, if he were still alive, just for the culture, for the same common ground, would have been Big Pun. Big Pun and Terror Squad. Yeah, that would have been great.
Wow.
That would have been great. Yeah.
All culture icons too.
I would have had to, just because I'm thinking like, yeah, that would have been a moment. The entrance alone would have made it enough for me. Doesn't matter who I was wrestling.
Who would be your Mount Rushmore of greatest wrestlers of all time?
Good question. Wow. Good question. I didn't even think of that one.
Wow. For me, and the thing is that it's always, that's a very opinion-based question, right? Because it's always depending on the person. For me, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, and The Undertaker. Yeah. Is there a 5th one in there? Did I not go to school for a long time?
No.
Yeah. I would have to choose. Yeah, I would have to go them. Yeah. Each one of them leaves an impact in professional wrestling that's still talked about. Moments that still live up against any other moment in professional wrestling. You could pick out one specific moment from their career, and that one specific moment could go up against any single moment ever. I think that's what drives me. I want moments like that. I want to impact people's lives in that same fashion. So yeah, for me, those are the 4.
What as a kid growing up, or even up to now, what is your all-time favorite match?
My all-time, and what's funny is that my all-time favorite match isn't even a story-driven match. It was the most chaotic thing I have ever seen, and it was probably one of the first times I was exposed to WWE, and it was TLC 2, the Hardys and Edge Christian and the Dudley Boys, and I had no idea what matches like that were. I was very cruiserweight based, big guy, heavy based. So the first time I saw that, it was the right kind of chaos for my liking. You know what I mean? And I feel like it sets a precedence of what I want to do at some point in this industry, in this career, so to speak.
The KD asks, what are 3 changes that must be made to make the wrestling industry better?
Oh, I mean, I don't think I can speak solely on the conditions to make it better, because it's great. There's a lot of things that aren't great, and those are very, very easy to point out when everybody's watching. I think we need people who are honest with themselves first and foremost, and I know that's very vague, but that says a lot to people's characters. And I don't have to speak on anyone individually or any one particular incident. We read about them all the time. So if people were more honest with themselves, that would start off with a lot of other things. You said 3 things, yeah? 2 is to be honest, there's a level of respect that has to be more given to this business. And again, that sounds very vague, but there's a lot of things that don't come with respect and don't come with honesty. So if people are more honest with themselves and give respect where it's really due, because at any given moment, it's over for us. One bad slip, one bad brain buster, one bad hit of the ropes, and it's over. And I would hate for that to happen to me if I was disrespectful to the thing that I wanted to do the most. Can't speak too much on what else could make it better, because if we're just talking about the wrestlers themselves, we could go on and on. I just think people need to disconnect and stop engaging on the clickbait. No one should care why a wrestler goes where he goes, or what color underwear they wear on Saturdays, or how much money they're making next year compared to last year. None of those things matter to the product of what's happening in wrestling. Those are just tidbits. It's a TMZ. It's trying to make us celebrities, in which we are, I suppose, but those facts don't matter. If you're a great wrestler who can captivate an audience, that should be it. So if we had more people who watched it like that, then we would have a lot more fun. But again, who am I to say? I do this. So watch me, don't watch me.
That was gonna be the next question I was gonna ask you too. But I'll ask you right after this. KD said, what advice would you give to Elijah Eden, their first day ever in wrestling training?
I would say, shut your mouth, learn as much as you can, and know that you're never going to be ready unless you do it. There's a lot of people who have, I guess, like anybody else, when you try something new for the first time, have made you rethink if you're really ready for something like this. And I know I am. I knew I was. It didn't take long for me to make that decision. So if I had stuck with that the whole time, I would have been a lot better. But things happen. You know what I mean? Things happen. We can't determine every step of what we're going to do. So we just put one foot in front of the other and just know that we are ready for this. And we wouldn't try if we didn't think so, right?
Absolutely. So to piggyback on what you were saying previously before this question, where you were talking about people shouldn't care about the wrestlers' personal lives. So what do you think about kayfabe in wrestling? Because
what is that?
There you go.
What is that? What's a kayfabe?
There you go. There you go.
I mean, there's good publicity, there's bad publicity. What's a kayfabe, to be honest?
Okay, so my question to you is, what does it bother you? Okay, so I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, I think in the midst of a Braun Strowman Roman Reigns feud, they were going at each other crazy, and then there was a picture of them overseas, like in Greece, taking a picture together. Do you think that's good for wrestling? Do you think that's bad for wrestling?
I mean, I think that's something for wrestling. And let me explain. Are we sitting here talking about it?
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. Are we sitting here wondering what's going to happen the time after that when they linked up in the ring, when they met for the fifth, sixth time?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I think whatever benefits wrestling is best for wrestling. Granted, it just depends on interpretation. Does it bother me? Not at all. Those are them. You know what I mean? Let them take photos together. That's fine. People do that. They're human just like anybody else. But if we're sitting here saying whether it's good or bad, we're still talking about it. So it has to be some sort of good, right?
True. If anything, as long as if in wrestling, if it's talked about, then you're doing something right.
Then you're doing something right. Unless it's the obvious terrible things of wrestling. In that case, we don't want parts of that. But you know what I mean.
How difficult is it to run the ropes?
For me, it was a lot easier than most. But from what I've seen, yeah, it can leave you a pretty bad scar. But like anything else, you get used to that. For me, it was pretty easy, honestly.
So what is it? Okay, so let me ask you a question. What does a day in training consist of?
A day in training consists of you talking about the entire day, like from the moment
let's just say from the time you get there to the time you leave.
I mean, for me, I knew that I had to wake up early and eat well so that way I can go to the gym or work, depending on the day. I'm a human, just like everybody else. So I still got to go to work at some point. I still got to put in the work at some point. Then you rest. You make sure you're well malnourished for training, because the one thing that they don't tell you is that you will feel like you're going to die. And that's no joke. If you are an athlete, fantastic. If you're not, good luck. So regardless of the fact you always feel like you're going to die, when you get there, stretch out, you warm up, you start a workout, depending on who's teaching. You know, I can't speak for everyone, but we worked out constantly. There was a lot of things that happened, and we didn't get to even touch the ring before there was a certain level of respect and almost like you earned it. You don't just slide in the ring. You kind of have to earn those strikes. You have to, what is it? Crawl before you walk and walk before you run, right? So yeah, just a lot of working out, a lot of thinking how much you really want to do this, and when it's all said and done, you go to sleep. You get home, you shower, you eat again, you bandage your wounds, you ice your neck or whatever hurts, and you get up and you do it again the next day.
KD asks, what cities have you wrestled in?
I mean, aside from the tri-state, like Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. I went to West Virginia not too long ago. I did Maine, and then yeah, that's it so far. A lot of the shows that I do just so happen to be in the tri-state, but that'll change very soon.
What is the difference between, let's just say, wrestling in New York and wrestling in Maine?
For me, there is no difference. No difference. I do what's necessary to win, and I do what's necessary to leave you wanting more. So the crowd, obviously there's New York fans who want to see you bleed, who want to see you practically die. And that's fine. We do that. We could do that. Some other states you don't have to. Some other places you don't have to. But again, as long as I leave you wanting more and I get the job done, I don't change much of what I do.
Giandre, got any questions for him?
What was the inspiration behind your name?
My name? I wanted people to not be able to tell what I was from the sound of my name. Right? Who's your favorite wrestler? Think of your favorite. You don't even have to tell me. Think of your favorite wrestler and think of how they look. That matches exactly the person that you're thinking of. Right? For the most part. Kane, The Undertaker.
Funny, Kane was his first name that popped in my head.
Yep. The Undertaker. Braun, Roman. There's a lot of things that you could think about with those names. Elijah Eden. When you think about that, you think of so many different things that you don't know what to expect. And then you see this, and I don't allow you to see my eyes. So now you're intrigued, and you want more, and you want to find out every bit of me as you possibly can. As much as I allow you to see or know about me. That's how that works.
The mask hides the face of the soul, man.
Yep. Yeah, it's always in the eyes. The eyes never lie. And if I don't show you my eyes, you will never be able to tell what my next move is.
That is true. You'll never be able to tell if you're in pain or anything of that nature, actually.
Nothing.
Right.
Have you bled through the mask?
Only through my teeth from enjoying beating the crap out of somebody, to be honest with you. But no, nothing major, nothing that I couldn't handle.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I forgot what was I watching recently? Bandito in his match with Jericho, and he was actually bleeding through the mask.
Yeah.
I think the only other time I've ever seen that is when Kane bled through the mask. So it's very rare that you'll see a masked wrestler bleeding. That's true. You can see it through his mask.
If you see me bleed through my other mask, that'll be very noticeable. But in this, you probably won't be able to tell anyway.
Have you broken any bones yet?
No.
Thank God.
Knock on.
Yeah, knock on wood. Yeah, absolutely.
Knock on all the wood I can. I've torn a muscle so far, but that happened in training and not even through an actual match. And I recovered from that a lot faster than I was supposed to. So thankfully, no, I haven't broken a bone yet. I haven't had a major injury that has taken me out. There's a lot of people who think that that's a scary thing and that should deter you from doing this. But if you're scared of that, then you obviously won't go anywhere. I'm not scared of that. I almost expect it. And when it just so happens, it's another notch on me for not having one. So keeping the streak alive.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, we thank you for this interview. Definitely greatly appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Okay, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Elijah Eden _. Just search up Elijah Eden on Facebook and look out for this mask. And yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you. We thank Elijah Eden for joining the show. Independent Wrestling Showcase. The first ever one. So congratulations, you are number one.
We have to start somewhere. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
So guys, be on the lookout for his team. Be on the lookout for him in future events. So check him out.
Yes, sir.
And everybody have a good night.